hmm
Hello, Anastasia.
Hi.
How are
Hiya.
you? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are
Okay.
you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you very much. Doing okay. So, this session we're going to be looking at IELTS reading. Okay. Now, if I can remind you that the IELTS reading test has three parts. Part one, or
hmm
rather passage one, passage two, and passage three. Today, we're going to be looking at passage one. Now, within the IELTS reading test, each passage has around 700 to 900 words. In total, it's about 2,500 to 2,700 words to read in total. And you have 1 hour to do it. So basically, three passages means you have 20 minutes to do it. As each passage moves along, it gets more difficult. So it's really, you can divide it 20, 20, 20, but if you can do it quicker in the first part, then you have more time when it comes to the more difficult passages towards the end of the reading test. Okay, so with that in mind, it really means to you've got a bit more than just knowing about English and skills. It's all about time management as well. You've got to be able to say to yourself, okay, 20 minutes is up, as I'm done, I've got to move on. Because let me remind you, the IELTS, all the IELTS tests is done by the same students, whether they're 10 years of learning English or 10 months of learning English. They all sit the same test, which means, of course, you've got different levels of students taking the same test. So if all the questions were easy to find, everybody would get a 9, which is the maximum band score you can get, which means like a native. And then they go to university or whatever, and they would turn out that they don't have that level of skills. So, but the other side, of course, if all the questions were very hard, and only really advanced students can find them, then those that are in the middle band, the intermediates, who maybe get a 5 or a 6 band score, they may not get that because it's too hard. So you've got to have questions that spread that sort of level so that some you'll find very quickly, some you'll find not so easily, and others will be in the middle there. Normally, it's about 3 or 4 questions that are quite easy to find, 3 or 4 questions that are hard, and then some in the middle. Now, with that in mind, of course, what happens is IELTS produce 14 different types of questions. And today we're going to look at maybe 4 or 5 of those types of questions, but in future lessons, there'll also be other types of questions we'll look at. So, so remind me again, how many minutes should we devote to each passage?
20 minutes.
20 minutes, okay, 20 minutes. And um, how many questions will there be in each passage?
Ooh,
I
I
haven't
think,
said you, I haven't told you that, haven't. There are 40 questions in total. So divided by
yeah,
three. So how many will that be then?
about 14,
Well, 40 will make it
15.
42. So it's normally, the split is normally 13 questions for passage one, 13 questions in passage two, and 14 questions in passage three. That's the normal breakdown of the way it works. Okay, so we have 13 questions for 20 minutes. How much time should we spend on each question?
Not a lot.
No, no, 1 minute 20, something like that per question. Okay, so some
Yeah.
you'll find very quickly, and some you'll find not so quickly. But you shouldn't bog down. And my point being is that with time management, when you reach the 20-minute mark, you should decide, okay, I found 8 or 9 questions correct, what I think are correct. Do I spend more time looking for the last 3 or 4 questions, or do I move on to the new passage? My answer has always been, don't waste any more time than 20 minutes, because it means if you can't find those other 4 questions very easily, then it's not for you, and you're going to waste a lot of time looking for those questions that you may not find at all. And then in passage two, there may be 8 questions you can find very easily, and in passage three, 8 questions that you can find relatively easily. So that will give you a 24, which is already a 5.5, a 6. Okay, and most universities will take people with a 6.5 or a 7. So you need to get between 24 and 30. A 30 is a band 7, which most universities will accept. So rather than spend another 10 minutes looking for 4 more questions in the first part, so you've only got, instead of 8, you get 12. But you've got less time to do passage 2 and passage 3, even less time if you follow that. You may only have 10 minutes, and that's not enough, because two passages of 8 or 9 only gives you 16 or 17 or 18. Won't give you your marks for 6.5 or 7. So it's time management is crucial to this. 20 minutes, stop. Okay. So with that in mind, then let's look at the reading we're going to look at today. Let me share my screen and my sound. Can you see my screen okay?
Yep.
What can we see? What's the title?
Have scientists designed the perfect chocolate?
Scientists designed the perfect chocolate. Okay. Now, before you start the listening, you've got to get yourself into the right frame of mind to start to do it in the correct way, the correct approach. Like anything, half the best result is when you're prepped and ready to go. You don't see swimmers or runners just take off their tracksuit and get down to the blocks. They do warm-ups, they do press-ups, they do stretches before they get on their blocks, before they start running. And it's similar to any exercise, and this is no different. This is a brain exercise. That's number 1. Number 2, you should also say to yourself, as I said, there are 900 words in each passage, more or less. You will not know all 900 words. How many words are there in the English language?
A lot.
A lot. You're quite right. There are 600,000 separate words. The average native English speaker probably knows 15 to 20,000. A professor or a writer of English or a teacher even might know 30 to 60, but we don't know 600,000 words. We definitely don't. So you've got to accept that there may be many words you don't understand or don't realize. So it's not a question of understanding the whole passage. It's a question of answering the questions, finding the information to answer the questions. Why is that? Why is that the task that IELTS is setting people who take the IELTS test? Any ideas? Any thoughts? Well, when you get to university, and don't forget the majority of people who take IELTS is for them to get to university, one of the major skills is to write, well, it's the only way really, to write an essay or to give a report. We're doing essays every week at university. We may be doing 4 or 5 essays a week, in which case you have to read a lot of material. You can't just write 2,000 words about what you think. You have to write an essay that has basis on fact and evidence, and you find that from other authors and professors and so on who have written books about whichever topic you're writing about, and you have to find quotes and information to back up your ideas in your essay. Now, the average academic book's going to be this thick, 20 chapters, 300-400 pages, and you may have to read 4 or 5 books just for one essay, and you may have to write 3 or 4 essays a week. How many books is that you have to read?
A lot.
5 times 5 is 25.
Yeah.
So can you read 25 books of 400 pages?
Not really possible.
Can't do it. It's impossible. You can't do it. Not even a native would be able to do it. Okay, so especially when you're doing other things as well at university, sports clubs and social clubs. University, the academic side is important, but that's not the main thing. It's all a life experience of being at university. You don't want to sit in a library all day reading 25 books just to answer one essay, or 5 essays, sorry, as I'm saying with my example. So what you have to do is we have to quickly discriminate where you can find the information, quickly find that information, and then put it into your essay. And this is what we're looking for. It's rather like being a detective. Yeah, you're looking at the questions that you're going to answer, and you have to let that guide you with some ideas through clues in the questions and through clues in the passage to find the information. You are not expected to read the whole 2,500 words of the whole IELTS test. It's all about finding the information, so that when you go to university, you've shown you have this skill, so that when you are being a university student, you are doing well. Because if you don't and you fail, then not only do you as a student lose your possibility to develop, the university loses the chance to earn money from you. The average non-native speaker will spend £20,000 a year on their education in America or the United Kingdom or Canada or Australia. If they've gone because their English isn't up to speed and not good enough, and they don't have this skill, the university cannot replace them, because probably it's gone 6 months or a year into the course, and you can't put a student into a spare place in the course because the student's left because of their English. So that's a loss of income for the university. They don't need that. They don't want it. They can't afford it. So they need students to have this skill, and that's why they're testing it. If you understand that, that's the approach you take, then you can do well in IELTS. Okay, so before we start anything, like we're doing a warm-up, this is our warm-up today in our lesson. Let's have a look at what we got. What can we see here? What does it say here?
Click the link below and watch the video and then discuss the questions.
Okay, so introduction, or read everything on the page. That's one thing, it's a fundamental point. Read everything on the page. Okay, so we're going to watch this video here, and let's see how we feel about this video once we've watched it. Let me just share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
I spent 3 hours.
Yep.
What does it say?
A serious funny campaign for German chocolate brand.
Okay, and in the center of the screen?
Fanny Kunigunde, I don't know how to read that. Biscuit optimization expert, Ritter Sport, HQ Germany.
Okay, we know what Ritter Sport is. Have you ever tried Ritter Sport chocolate?
Of course I have.
Okay, we know what it's talking about. So let's watch here. Let me put on the subtitles. Okay, now let's watch it.
I spend 3 hours every day without my vision. It maximizes my sense of smell, sense of taste, and sense of crunch.
Sense of crunch?
Yeah, you cannot, without a sense of crunch, judge a biscuit. Crunch! I take biscuit very seriously. It takes serious to know wonderful, and we use very wonderful biscuits in our chocolate bars.
So what is the secret to your crunchiness?
9 to Laberwick.
No limpness?
Ja. Every morning I first reference das Übercrunch. A crunch is multidimensional.
9 to Laberig. If you don't want Laberig chocolate, choose Ritter Sport. It's either Ritter or it's wrong.
Okay, so there we go. Quite an amusing little video about, what was it about?
Yeah. Well, it was about the Ritter Sport chocolate with the biscuit.
With a biscuit. Are you a fan of a biscuit in a chocolate bar?
I am actually.
Okay then. Okay, let's have a look at some of these questions that we can discuss. 1 second, let's go to here. Okay, so let's have a look. Is eating chocolate good for your health?
Not really. Well, maybe good for your mental health. Not for your physical though.
They do say that, yeah, that dopamines are released in the brain when you eat chocolate, and so therefore that can be good for your mental health. Possibly too much chocolate is not good for your health, and of course it causes damage to the teeth. So yeah, it could
Plus
be.
it's sugar. Also it's sugar, so it's not really.
Yeah, okay. What about number 2? What does that say?
What do you think about fair trade chocolate?
Do you know what fair trade chocolate is?
Fair trade chocolate, as I understand, it's like in terms of worldwide chocolate, in terms of, is that what it means?
Fair trade is where they've set up so that
Yeah,
The
so
individual manufacturers of the cocoa bean are getting a better price for their chocolate. It's fair trade.
okay,
Rather
okay.
than the middleman taking the larger percentage, and the producers of the actual agricultural product, the coffee bean, the cocoa bean, the cocoa bean, are not getting so much. So that's what fair trade aims to produce, a better deal for the people that produce the agricultural product, the cocoa bean. Okay, number 3.
Well, obviously, I think that's a good way to go.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Will you look out for fair trade chocolate when you buy chocolate?
No, not really, but actually makes me think I should. But it's not something that is so accessible. It's like with every fair trade sort of product, there's so much, mass market, and there's so much big producers that overwhelm,
Yeah.
is that it's not always accessible. Fair trade chocolate could be a bit, for example, it's more expensive than the average chocolate, and for example, not all people can afford fair trade chocolate.
Yeah. Okay. That's good.
So
Yeah.
it's like, of course, ethically, it's better to get fair trade chocolate, but not everybody can. So in terms of reality,
Okay.
but fair trade is a good thing to have, in the world. I try to look out for it. I try not to buy from companies who abuse their workers or their suppliers. But it's not something that you always know, and it's not something that is always accessible.
Okay, good. Number 3. What does number 3 say?
Should confectionery include more than taste? What is that supposed to mean? Isn't the whole point in taste?
Well, this is the point. I mean, can it be? I mean, we have aero chocolates or bubbles in chocolate, so there's air instead of just taste. Can I add something
Oh,
more than
okay.
just the taste? Should it be more than just the taste?
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, for example, biscuit, it's not only taste, but it's the texture. So it's what we
Next.
watched the YouTube video about, is that it's the crunch. So, for example, the biscuit can be tasty, but if it's soggy,
Yeah.
if there's no crunch, there's no point in it. For example,
Okay.
it's not it's not a desirable texture.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Also,
definitely,
you
it's
can have
important.
fruit in chocolate. That's quite a
Yeah,
often as well.
also.
Fruit. So and other things as well in chocolate bars. So
Yeah, I'm definitely for that.
okay,
So
so texture is as important as it can be, like something to add to the taste as well. So not just taste.
definitely,
Um,
definitely.
Number 4.
What chocolate confectionery can you mention? What do you mean mention?
Well,
In
what
terms of,
brand names? Brand names of chocolates.
well, I can see them below. You got
Oh,
Snickers, and you got
okay, well let's go for that one.
Cadbury.
Okay. So, okay, we'll do that but in a minute. But yeah, Snickers, Cadbury's, Toblerone, and so on. Okay.
Yeah. All
Let's move
those
on
good
then.
things.
Okay, so apart from that, okay, number 5.
The savory and sweets things go together. Of course they do. It's a
Okay.
perfect combination.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Can you give an example then where you like savory and sweet things?
I like chocolate M&Ms with salty popcorn, for example.
There we go. Yeah, salty popcorn is one popular one, a savory item to go with sweet things. Okay, so I think that should also be.
Yeah, a lot of people like their chips with an ice cream as well, which is
Okay.
also a
Yeah. Yeah.
very famous savory and sweet combination.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think we've got a slight typo here. So do savory and sweet things go together?
Do.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, that makes more sense.
That makes more sense grammatically. Good. Okay. Do savory and sweet things go together? I think they do as well. I think they complement each other. I quite like also. I like peanut butter and jelly. It's very nice. I know it's
Oh yeah, that's also a famous combination, isn't it?
famous combination. Okay, good. So let's move below and look at this next exercise. What does it say here?
Review the chocolate confectionery items below and identify their country of origin.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So
Mars is, I think it's America.
Yeah, it
I
was
think it's the
American. Although
USA.
again, it's produced in so many countries locally. People maybe have a problem to identify. I used to think Mars was actually because we used to make it near London, Slough, just to the west of London. I always thought Mars was an English brand, but of course it's American. Yeah, of course. Next
Well,
one.
it's produced all over the world, yeah,
Well,
but I mean the origin of the
yeah,
company.
the origin. Yeah, but it's probably
Okay.
now a multinational, of course, brand. What about Cadbury's?
Yeah. Cadbury's, well, that's the UK.
UK, okay. Although now owned by
That's
American
the UK
company,
for
but
you.
yeah, originally UK. This one here for Ferrero Rocher.
I don't know exactly, but judging by the names of them, they are I would say Italian,
It's
probably.
Italian. It's Italian, is indeed good. Toblerone,
Well, it basically has the Alp on it, so sort of gives it away. But it's Swiss
Swiss. Yeah,
chocolate.
okay. Marabou,
It's Sweden.
it's
I've
Swedish.
seen it in IKEA many times.
IKEA, yeah, I'm Marabou in IKEA, Swedish. And the last one, Ritter Sport.
Well, Germany, we just saw that in the video.
Okay, good. Okay. So that discussion you and I had in the last 10 minutes is really just an exaggeration and a focus on what you should do before you start the reading test. You need to look at the vocabulary, you look at the header, what is the idea, and then all of a sudden start thinking along those lines, because basically you've got to squeeze out from your brain words you won't need and bringing to the forefront of your brain words you will need. And it's all about chocolate and confectionery and the development thereof. So that's why we've done that process. And you should do that as an internal monologue at the beginning of a reading part. Every passage, you should do that just to give your idea, what are we talking about? And you've got to ask yourself some questions. Who would be interested in this type of article? What are they trying to say in the article? And what's the information may be contained in the article? So we're looking at scientists here. Yeah, so it could be, what sort of people may be interested in reading this article that we're going to be looking at?
I don't know, people who like chocolate.
People like chocolate, okay, chocolate fanatics, yeah. Maybe scientific people who want to know about
maybe somebody who's doing research on chocolate.
research and chocolate. Okay, right, okay. So you have this in your brain, and now, as I say, that's a very quick process. You just do it internally to yourself for a few seconds, and then we move on to look at how we do the reading. What's the approach we need here? The approach is fundamental. If you set the right approach and tackle the reading in the right way, you can do it quickly and efficiently and find the answers within the time scale, which is how many minutes should we have? How many minutes?
20?
20 minutes. 20 minutes. Okay. What does it say here? Reading.
You're going to read an article about some area of research into chocolate from the Smithsonian Magazine.
Smithsonian Magazine. Good. Mm-hmm.
Before dealing with the questions, skim the article. This means you should read it to get a general impression of what it's saying. But you should not try to understand everything. After all, there may not be a question about it. Yep. When you're finished reading, decide whether you have an impression that it is really about chocolate or something else. Do this in a maximum of 3 minutes.
Okay, so let's go down here, and here is the text. You can see it's broken up into paragraphs. Why is text broken up into paragraphs?
Well, each paragraph has has its own theme to it, so it's easier to to do the test.
Well, not only that, it's the way
way.
we normally write. Yeah, every time you have an writer has a new idea or a new part of the adventure, or whatever it's going, whether it's a novel or maybe even some sort of scientific paper as we're reading here. Remember, we'll always be reading about academic ideas in the IELTS test. There'll be no novels. There'll be no Charles Dickens or Dostoevsky or Pushkin. It'll always be academic type papers we're going to be reading. So and each paragraph has one main idea with supporting information. And that's fundamental to knowing how you tackle. If you understand that every paragraph has an idea, then what you can do is, as you're reading, you build a map and you say, paragraph 1 is about this, paragraph 2 is about that, paragraph 3 about something else. And you label them in your brain. Actually, you can write on the piece of paper that you're reading a word, or underline the words that show the main idea of each paragraph. And that way you can build up a mind map of where information can be found very quickly when you come to answer the questions. So that's what we need to do. However, I'm going to throw in a different approach today, because although it's important to get an idea of the general impression, what also is important is to understand, as you're going along, to start tackling the questions. So you have to look at the questions first before you start looking at the passage. It's really crucial for you to know, what am I looking for when you start reading? And as you're reading, you can actually look through the questions and have them in the back of your brain, back of your mind as you're reading, and sort of say, that was what question we're looking for. So the idea is to look at the first set of questions, and then as you're reading, bear that in mind as you're skimming and scanning through the text. So, and when you're to do that with the reading part, you have to look at the questions and underline the main ideas of each question, because each question has a main word, a main idea, as well as the paragraph. So you've got to have both ideas in your mind when you're starting the reading. So let's look here at questions 1 to 3, and what does it say?
Using no more than 3 words or a number, so either 3 words or either one number.
Yeah.
From the passage, answer the following questions. How many team members dislike the taste of chocolate? What percentage of non-milk chocolate was toughened by raising and lowering the temperature? What seemed to improve human taste's enjoyment of the chocolates?
Okay, so we should underline here. So how many dislike?
Yeah, so we're looking for a number.
Okay, yeah. Number 2, what percentage?
What percentage? We're also looking for a number, but with the percentage bar.
Okay, percentage.
So if we see a percentage, we have to come back here.
Okay, so when you have a number, a percentage, that means it's easier to find because you're looking for numbers. Okay, and normally scientific, academic pieces of paper, they won't write 72 SEVNT -TWO. They write the number 72 because they're scientists. Why would they write it in full English? They write it with the numbers themselves. So that makes it easier to spot those things. Okay, and number 3.
Improve human taste's enjoyment.
Okay, so
improve enjoyment.
The thing is there's another fundamental thing that we can know about IELTS, is that once you find the first question, the rest of the questions follow below. They never go back on themselves. Okay, but we can see here, for example, we have different types of questions. We got 1 to 3 here, where we're looking for information. We got here questions 4 to 7, where we're looking for paragraph information. Yeah, paragraphs A to J. So this is the second type of question. It can be that once you found the answer to number 1 in the text, number 2 and 3 will be below. Then you've got a new set of questions. Number 4 may be above number 1. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. But once you find number 4, you then move down through the paragraphs. You never go back again. Okay, so it can be switched, they can move up and above, but once you find the first answer to that rubric of questions, that group of questions, all the answers will be below. You don't go back. Okay, there are exceptions to that, which we'll look at in another time, but there's only like 2 groups of questions where that might be different. In the main, though, this is the way it works with IELTS. Okay, so we've got how many team members, what percentage of non-milk was toughened, and then and improve human tasters. What seemed to improve human tasters' enjoyment? Okay, so with that in mind, let's go back up, and you have, as I say, I'm going to make it smaller for you. I'll make it larger, actual fact. So as you're reading through, just tell me, I'm going to leave that on the screen, so I can see it as well. And tell me when you want me to move the screen down. Obviously, you're reading it yourself in front of you, but you can read on the screen as well.
Okay.
Okay, so I can follow you through where you are. Okay, so you have 3 minutes to quickly skim and scan as best you can.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I found the answer for the first question.
Say again.
I found the answer for the first question.
Okay, I can't hear you very well, Paul.
Sorry, I found the answer for the first question, and it is in paragraph B.
Yeah.
And it's the line where there wasn't anyone on the team who didn't like the chocolate, fortunately.
Okay. So that's question 1. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Ooh, there we go. Found the second one. It's the beginning of paragraph C. Researchers tempered dark chocolate containing 72% cacao, heating and cooling to give it stable texture, so hardening it, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good.
So we got an answer here. And oh, okay. Found the answer, paragraph B.
Paragraph D.
Paragraph D. The more intricate the shape,
Okay.
the more crack it had, the more they seemed to enjoy it.
Okay. So that's number 3 then already. Okay. So we've already by putting those questions in mind, we've already answered 3 questions while we're still doing this first part of quickly skimming and scanning. Okay, good. So let's carry on then through the rest of the paragraphs quickly. And but we've done the first three parts, the first 3 questions. Let's look at the second part of the questions that we've got. What are we looking for there? Let's have a look down, shall we? Questions 4 to 7.
Okay. Which paragraph contains the questions 4 to 7? The reading passage has 10 paragraphs, A to J. Which paragraph contains the following information? Write the appropriate letters A to J for each question. You need only to write 1 letter for each answer.
Okay, so we're looking now at a paragraph. What do they mean? So that means we've got to answer the main point of each paragraph. Contains the following information. Okay, so which paragraph came? So number 4.
A previous type of work that the head of the research project did. Then we've got the sensation people appreciate more when eating chocolate.
So previous type of work, the head of research, sensation, appreciate more. Okay.
Problem.
Masticating is another word for chewing. It's a scientific word for chewing. Masticate. To masticate is to chew.
Okay. And the possibility to reduce the production of labeling, so possibility labeling.
Okay, right.
Reduce.
Okay. So, do you think at the moment any of the paragraphs that we've read so far fit any of this information?
Well, paragraph, the fifth sort of fits the paragraph D.
Mm-hmm.
So it talks about, the intricate shape and that more brittle chocolate is
Yeah.
more
So
people like.
you think question 5 is D already?
Yeah, so
So what do you
4,
think? Where will be
it has
4?
to be.
So 4 is going to be A, B, or C, isn't it?
Yep.
It must be because they don't come below. Okay.
Yeah, but they don't come. Yeah, so I have to look for that.
Okay then. Okay, so you're going to carry on reading, are you?
Yep.
Skimming and scanning. Good. Go back up then. Where are you at the moment? On paragraph D?
Yep.
Okay. Let me know when you're on paragraph E. Are you on E already?
I'm on F already.
Okay.
So I'm looking for problematic chewing.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, there we go. F. F is 6.
F is 6 because we have chewing here, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Biting.
Trouble with biting or chewing
Okay.
because of illness or dental issues.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
So we can move on a bit now
Yep.
to G.
So we're looking for labeling. So we're looking for maybe so H.
Yeah.
H is because it says this can reduce the need for printing labels and the food product becomes the label itself.
Okay. So, okay. Printing labels.
So we're looking now for a previous type of work that the head of research project did.
So hang on a second. D was 5. F was 6.
Yep.
And 7 was H.
Yep.
And we're going to be A, B, or C
Yes.
here, previous type of work. Which paragraph
Yep.
is?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
But the thing is, before you do that, you know it's at the beginning, but finish off looking for, because we're still doing this overall task of trying to understand what each paragraph says. Okay, so finish up with H, I, and J before you go back up, because you know where it's going to be A, B, or C. So that's a quick one to find. But just you still got to do the last 2 paragraphs, I and J. And just again underline the main point in I and J.
Okay, but it's not there.
What are we looking for? Sorry, it's not there where? Now remember, we're still
I
looking.
finished.
Okay, so what was the main idea?
Yeah, I'm not looking. I was just reading.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're looking for previous type of work of the head of the research projected.
So normally you'd find ahead of, you'd probably find a name. You're looking for a name probably, yeah? Because again,
Yeah.
the idea being when you see that, the head of, you say, well, what's his name? It won't be said the head of, it'll have a name there. So you're quickly scanning through
Yeah.
through names. What names can we find? We've got, okay.
Karenin Koalias or whatever that
Quarantine
is
Cooley.
in B.
Quarantine
Thank
Cooley.
you.
Yeah,
I'm not really good with names.
okay.
So I have that.
Okay. So where was that? Which paragraph's in it?
B.
Okay, and what about him? Quarantine Cooley. What does it say about him?
He's a physicist,
Okay, anything else?
and
You're
they talk
looking for
about
previous type of work.
metamaterials.
Previous. So you're looking for what word could be previous? Again, look for synonym.
Metamaterials. He worked with metamaterials not found in nature. In the past, his
In
work
the
has
past.
involved
There we go.
shape-changing materials.
There's the clue. In the past. In the past, his work has involved. So
So
that's
B.
what he's. So it's B. Okay, B. Okay, questions 8 to 10. So far, although this is a lesson, we've gone so well and we've already done 7 answers by just having this information in mind before we've started. We've found answers as we've gone along without reading everything and then going back again. That's the problem with a lot of students. They'll read everything and then go to the questions. Too late. You've spent too much time. You've got to try and do it at the same time. You've got to be multitasked. Okay, questions 8 to 10. What does that say?
Complete the following statements, 8 to 10, with words taken from the reading passage. Write no more than 3 words for each answer.
Okay, this is where you have to physically take the same words and you're not looking at any synonyms, you're looking for the same word to make the sentence sound correct. Okay, so, but again, you've got to look for clues where you're going to find it.
Well, we got that weird name again. Kool-Aid, yeah.
Yes.
So we know that's paragraph B about him.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to find with what not seen naturally.
Not seen naturally. Okay, let's go back up. So we're in paragraph B.
Structures and properties.
Yeah. Okay, not found in nature. There it is. Structures and properties. There's our answer. Structures and properties.
That's 3 words. So
yeah. So there's 3 words there. That'll do that one. Okay, structures and properties. So let me go down.
Structures and
structures and properties. Good. Okay.
Yep. Then we've got recent research has shown that the engineering of pasta can allow it to go from what whilst cooking.
Okay, so what's the clue here?
If I remember correctly, they talked about pasta in paragraph E.
Paragraph E. So let's go to paragraph E. Okay, about pasta. Again, we're not going reading everything. We're just using our knowledge that we've picked up from skimming and scanning to go to the right place. We've got this mind map. We know where we're going. Pasta was in paragraph E. Okay.
Yep. From flat to 3D during cooking.
Flat to 3D. Is that fitting in? Let's go here. I've recently researched that engineered pasta can allow it to go from flat to 3D. So we're going to put flat to 3D in there, are we?
Seems like it.
Flat to 3D. Good, okay. Rightio.
Well, 3D is one word, so...
Yeah, it is. Flat to 3D. It's okay. 3D, that's fine. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep. And then we've got question 10.
The color of food can be altered and could give away to what?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what are we looking? Are we going to go above or below?
Below.
Okay, we're going further down. So we're going to look at F, G, H, I, and J, possibly. But what are we looking at particularly here? What's the
looking for color.
color of food? So we're skimming and scanning for color. Okay.
Yeah, because I don't remember, exactly where it is. So I'm looking for color now.
Okay.
Um,
Tell me when you found it and which paragraph it's in. So we're looking for color. Color. That was chewing was in F.
yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
H.
Where does it say that?
Edible holograms.
Yeah. Okay. Colors. So color of food could potentially, what does it say? And could give way to.
The
No,
color
that's
of
the
food
idea
can be
of. We're
altered
looking.
and
Yeah.
could give away to. So
The color of food doesn't say about. Even more sci-fi is the idea of edible holograms. It's not talking about colors yet. Foods and surfaces can be
but it talks about this changes the color of the food
and
could potentially lead to edible nutritional labeling.
So there's our answer. Edible nutritional labeling.
Yep.
Here we go. Yeah, edible nutritional labeling. Okay, good. So let's go down and put that in there in question number 10. Edible nutritional labeling. Okay, good.
Yay, so I got 2 more sets left.
Okay, 2 more sets of questions to look for. So far, we've done well. We've got 10 questions answered. That's already from 13. If you did that through, that would be, if you got 10 in every part, that would give you a total mark of 30, which would be a 7 already. So now what you should say to yourself, when you get to this point, because you're confident, you should say to yourself, do I have to spend another 5 minutes looking for the last 3 points, or have I earned enough to get my mark? I need a 7. I need a 7.5. Maybe you want to carry on, especially if you're on a roll and you've done it in less than 20 questions. If you're less than 20 minutes, by all means carry on. If you're over, then possibly maybe just take that as a view. Maybe it's too. I could leave that and come back to it later. Depends if I do very well in my next 2 sets of 2 passages. So let's go to question 11 to 13. What does it say?
List the 3 examples in the reading passage which refer to the results showing how technology can change foods physically in the future. Write no more than 3 words for each answer.
So we're looking for food physicality. Okay.
Physicality, yeah.
These paragraphs didn't talk about that idea, technology and physicality. So that means you can ignore those because you won't find the information there. You'll only find in the passages that talk about this idea, technology and physicality. So technology can change how food appears. Okay, so.
Well, we've got the holograms that we've seen in.
Yeah.
So, we got the 3D pasta.
3D pasta.
As well.
Okay.
And.
But we're talking about technology.
Yeah.
Okay. Examples which refer to showing how technology, not the result. So it may not be 3D pasta. We want to see how technology changes the food's physicality. So be careful. So this is what I'm talking about. These questions are more advanced. And so if you are not needing an 8 or a 9 and you only need a 7, then maybe it's a question of efficiency, and to spend time finding these last questions may not be worth the effort. Maybe it's better to spend your time on the next passage.
Yeah.
But let's have a go anyway. We've still got time in the lesson. We've still got 20 minutes left at the end of the lesson. So 3 examples which refer to the results showing how technology. Okay. Where do we first meet about technology and results?
Technology results. Well, we've got 3D printer in C.
Okay. Spiral shapes. Okay. Using a 3D printer.
Yep.
But that's not the result, is it? What's the result of using a 3D printer?
Well, spiral shapes
Spiral shapes.
is a result.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take spiral shape.
Okay, spiral shapes. Then we got
What was paragraph D about? Was paragraph D at all about technology?
Not really.
Not really. So ignore paragraph D. Again, the whole point is do not read information where you think it's not going to be, because you're wasting time. There's nothing in D about technology, so don't bother reading D. And it's quite a big paragraph, that one.
Yep. Well, I would say geometrically engineered pasta.
Genetically engineered pasta. Where's that then? Which paragraph's that in?
E.
E. Okay.
About morphing pasta or geometrically engineered pasta.
Okay. Morphing pasta or genetically engineered. So you can only use how many words?
Not more than 3.
So what are you going to use? Morphing pasta or geometrically engineered pasta?
Geometrically engineered pasta.
Okay.
I could use both.
You could use both. Morphing pasta, or when you see an or there, both will be accepted. Morphing pasta or genetically engineered pasta, both will be accepted in that answer. And then what else do we have with technology for the result?
We got edible nutritional labeling.
Edible nutritional labeling, which was where? Which paragraph?
Which was paragraph H.
Paragraph H. Sci-fi is the idea of change the color of food. Could edible nutritional labeling. Okay, that's good. Okay. Have we not used that already though? Edible nutritional labeling. Did we not use that?
We did.
In 10? You don't get the answers twice. Is there another synonym in this paragraph that you can use that means the same as edible nutritional labeling?
Edible holograms.
Edible holograms, that's it. That's the correct answer there. Yeah, not edible nutritional labeling, edible holograms. Good. So that's us done. Question 13. Let's look at the last question then, question 14. What does it say?
1 second. Yep. Use from the list below, choose the most appropriate subheading for the whole of the reading passage. Select A to D.
Okay.
So what would be the title appropriate for this passage?
Yeah. Okay. This is why now. This is where you have to make a decision. It's 1 mark. It's 1 mark. If you feel you've done really well, and in order to write with all the other questions, in order to get the correct answer here, you've got to read it all again to get an idea. And you haven't been able to do that from the way we've approached it by reading paragraphs, and you've still not got a whole idea. Do not waste time reading it all again. You don't have time to do it all again, just to find for 1 mark. It's best just to say, well, I can't answer that question now, and I'm not going to spend time. It does mean that when you started to read the paragraph, you should have read all the questions, which again means a lot of time spent that maybe you don't need to do reading all the questions at the beginning. You want to get on, and as you've seen, answer the questions as you go through, not read all the questions first and then go back. So again, it's a strategy technique you need to use. And if you don't know it now, don't go back to read it to try to understand it. Okay, if you get to the end of your 3rd passage and you've got time, by all means go back and choose. The final thing, of course, never leave it blank. Even though you don't know the answer, have a good guess. Having read the passage or the paragraphs, have a good idea of what it might be. Leave it alone, but come back at the end and circle the right answer. Never leave it blank. Never leave it blank. Okay, so which one do you think it's going to be?
C.
C. How metamaterial research into chocolate shows a future for production of other areas of production. Future for other areas of production. Why did you choose C?
Well, it starts about chocolate, and then it talks about 3D, but then it also talks about pasta and holographic, and it also talks about geometrical, shapes in terms of planes, if I remember correctly. So it talks about how this affects like modeling in the future. Stuff like that. So
the end, better crash helmets, other protective gears, safer planes or cars. So chocolate was just the lead into the conclusion that this is a bright future for the of using materials to change shapes to make it easier. So our metamaterial research, future production, good. So it is C. It is C. And that means that you did very well. You got all of them right. Every question was correct. So that's very well done. Very well done. Okay. So just to finish up then, do you think you will buy spiral? Would you like to have hologram labels on things that you eat in the future?
Well, I mean, it's hard to ensure that, the whole point of a label is also not just to be a label, but it's to sort of, keep food from contamination. So if it's like a hologram where it actually does create a barrier, then 100%, because that'll break down pollution and plastic and all the other.
Hang on a minute. Labeling is put on the packaging at the moment. But here we're talking about, it's a good point. Even if they put the labeling on the food, they're still going to have to package it. Otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. So if the holograms like make the chocolates bar float, above one another, if we're thinking sci-fi, if it's some sort of create some kind of like invisible barrier that goes away once you bite off the chocolate, then 100%. But it's still packaging. And maybe it's a cool thing for the future, but if you have to package it into into something anyway, especially something plastic. Although said that, it allows space for more ecological friendly packaging in terms of the reason why companies use plastics so much on their chocolate is because of the colorful labeling you get from it. And well, actually said that as well. It also protects from, if it's hot, it protects it from the heat, sort of the chocolate stays inside. It's an interesting question, but if it protects the chocolate, then yes. But if it still has to be packaged, it's just, it'll probably be more expensive than the usual packaging and not anyway ecological. It would be just like a one-time experience. I bought chocolate in a holographic sort of package. Okay. Post it on Facebook or something,
Good lesson, Anastasia. Well done. That was very well done. I know, of course, it's a lesson, so we spent 40 minutes doing it, and we did a lot more than just find the answers. We were looking at tips and hints and how to approach the different getting yourself ready, how to find information, how to build that mind map of each paragraph so you know where to go to find the information quickly and not just reading from top to bottom every time looking for the right answer. That's what it's all about, and it was a good lesson. You did really, really well. So with no more further ado, I will say thank you very much. Adieu, and have a good evening, and I'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.